Cody Alexander, match quarters, going to break down this play with USC's offense versus Utah's defense. Now, Utah's defense runs a lot of single high coverage, whether it's cover one or cover three. This particular one is going to be cover three. In fact, we're going to get a pressure. I'm going to let it roll real quick. I call this fields. Okay, field just means we're attacking the field into the C gap. You can tell that they put a defensive lineman in there. We have a linebacker over here. It's a package play, but everything kind of the pressure path and the coverage all works together regardless of who's on the field and where they are and then where they end up. So we're going to get a field, which is a C gap pressure. It's going to essentially end up into an under front, meaning that everybody's going to go reduced to the boundary. So he's going to end up in a three. We got a five technique. We got a nose, and then he's going to end up copying. Now, the running back is going to check release over here. So we've got three receivers off the screen that you can't see. I really want to focus on these two players. I want to focus on the cornerback and I want to focus on the linebacker. Now, the linebacker has some width because you have a blitz right here. He's going to end up getting into what I call the vertical hook. And this is very crucial for linebackers, primarily, whether it's in quarters and they're running some sort of a triangle coverage to the boundary, or they're running a cover three scheme, and he's got to get that weak hook, and he's got to get that vertical, right? Because if he doesn't have any threat, there's no flat threat. He needs to get in that slant, that glance, that dig window, and he needs to climb. So this linebacker is going to do a great job. So the linebacker's reading. He sees the running back check release, right? So the running back is no longer a threat. There is no flat threat over here. Quarterback is clearly looking over here. He's going to drop. Notice how his eyes, once he sees, so he sees the back, then he checks for a crosser. This is great eye discipline. And I think it's one of the things that is not talked about with linebackers, but is talked about with defensive backs. We're all running coverage, whether it's you are the intermediate player or you are a cap defender like a DB. So the linebackers have to understand, too, where their eyes need to go. The running back check releases. He's going to now check for any kind of low cross. There is no low cross, so now his eyes go to the quarterback. Now, this entire time, he is dropping. So now the quarterback's set up. Once he sees that, and it's a really quick check. Okay, running back pushes. I'm getting a four. I'm getting a four strong, meaning I'm probably going to get a crosser coming back. I don't get a crosser coming back. So now I'm going to drop with vision on the quarterback, and that allows me to see this, and I'm going to cut flat into the vision, make that ball go high. Now, let's talk about why I want to work underneath of the receiver. So the corner is going to be outside leverage. Now, normally what I would tell my corner, especially with strong rotation and the safety working opposite. So they're giving a too high look and moving into a middle of the field close look. Normally I would say, hey, look, treat it like man, but you've got a hook defender who's going to sit in the glance window. They're playing the fade. So he's going to play the fade right here. He's outside release. He's going to press bail. This is really good with the stab down with the outside foot, and he's going to work. Notice how he's staying in his tuck. He's staying crouched down. He's got his low shoulder down towards the running back, and he's staying on that outside hip with the vision to it. Once he sees the break, he's going to then break an overlap on top, knowing that he's going to have a vertical hook defender in the intermediate, and he cuts to it. Notice once the ball gets to the receiver, we have an underneath defender and we have an overlap defender. The safety does a good job of working to the middle of the field with vision, seeing that, and then working back. So what we end up with, because the vision is good with all of the three zone defenders, we end up with three guys on one route. So if this were to have been a post route, you get the safety working back. You have him on the top shoulder. You have him underneath. They end up running a dig, kind of like a rounded off glance, and you end up getting a nice play. So again, this is a great example of one, eye discipline for linebackers. I'm check releasing the back. It's four strong, check for a cross, don't get a cross, keep working that vertical hook, cut to vision of the quarterback. And then another good example for the DB with a press bail on the outside hip, staying right there, understanding where your help is, overlapping on top. So even if the quarterback had sailed that ball a little bit, the corner would have been there. So great example by Utah. They had a good game plan for USC and are now the Pac-12 champions.